UFC London, guys, brings another brilliant fight together with Gunnar Nelson versus late replacement Takashi Sato. It was meant to be Claudio Silva, which would have been a Jiu Jitsu wonder fight, just a grapple fest, but ahoy, you know, we've got Takashi Sato stepping in, and I think it's an extremely dangerous fight for Takashi, but there might be a couple of ins he can take here. But before we get into it, guys, this video is sponsored by Full Reptile Collective, brought to you by Dan Hardy. Head over to their website at fullreptile.co.uk where you can find anything from training gear, t-shirts, hoodies, all the way to coffee. For an exclusive 10% off, use Dan Said So at checkout. Make sure to also check out their YouTube channel for some of the best MMA content out there, bar my own. Let's get back to the video. So we'll start with Gunnar Nelson. Gunnar Nelson, an extremely talented southpaw. You know, has a very long stance, much like a karate bounce, point fighting kind of style. Does have knockout power, as you saw against people like Alan Jaban, where he can knock you down at least. Not clean knockout power, because I think he could have finished him on the feet, but he decided to snatch a neck with Alan, because if you remember correctly, he's a pretty good looking guy and he wants to preserve his face. But he's hurt a few guys with his striking, but let's face it, Gunnar Nelson's bread and butter is the jiu-jitsu. It's the groundwork. His grappling is absolutely phenomenal. Even against Leon Edwards wanted to prove a point when he fought him of, I can grapple with the best of them, and for 90% of it he really did. But he just got wily one time, and Gunnar Nelson ended up on top, which I don't know how that was a split decision loss for him, because it was unanimously he lost. He got his ass kicked for most of that fight, like 90% of that fight. But he did have his moments, and that's the point. In all these fights, even his losses, the Gilbert Burns fight, the Santiago Ponzinibbio fight is probably the only one he didn't have his moments, but he's always had a moment. The issue I have with Gunnar Nelson isn't whether he can submit anybody, because other than Damian Maia, he pretty much could. It's the layoff. He very rarely fights, and that's what worries me. I don't know what Gunnar Nelson's going to come into this. I don't know if he's physically going to be amazing, if his cardio's there, if he's lost a step, if he's coming in injured, if he's had the right training, if he's even focused. Does he care that much anymore? There's a lot of questions that need to be answered with Gunnar Nelson, and it's a really tough prediction every time you have him in a fight, because you never know what kind of Gunnar Nelson's going to show up. You don't know whether it's going to be the Alan Jaban one, or whether it's going to be the guy that steps in against Ponzinibbio and kind of just decides to strike with one of the greatest strikers that you could put in that division at that current moment. It was a bit of a, you know, head case to me. Whereas on the other side of the fence, you've got Takashi Sato now, who is also a southpaw, also likes to bounce, has a very traditional style fighting stance, I would say, less karate than Gunnar, but very similar. You know, they could mirror each other very well in this. They're going to be. He's got a better jab than Gunnar, but Gunnar has a better left cross, I would say. You know, the setup shots are better from Takashi, but I would argue the power shots and the precision is much more with Gunnar. He fights very similar to Stephen Wonderboy Thompson, just without the turning side kicks or the push kicks or anything like that, and without the absolute prowess, you know, before anyone starts saying about that. Takashi Sato is very susceptible to a left hook as well. He drops his right hand a lot of the time. When he throws out that jab, he doesn't return it as quickly. And it came against Bilal Muhammad. Bilal was catching him with a lead left hook all day. So there is a lot of holes in Takashi's game that could definitely be exploited. He's got good trips. He even tripped down Bilal in that fight. But he's very susceptible to one thing, and that is submissions. His takedown accuracy is okay. His takedown defense is pretty good. He springs up very quickly. You know, if you do get him down, he works his way back up to his feet. He doesn't hang around. The issue I have is Gunnar Nelson attacks a neck like very few people. If he gets a hold of a limb, a neck, anything, he will get it. He is an absolute snake. He's an anaconda when it comes to this sort of thing. And that's what I worry for with Takashi. I don't think he has the gas tank to kind of deal with the pressure that Gunnar Nelson's going to put on him. As long as it's the Gunnar Nelson that I'm thinking of, the one that can go the distance with the Gilbert Burns, the one that did provide Leon Edwards with a few problems, Gunnar Nelson has a lot more technical ability than a Takashi Sato to me. And for that reason, I do think Gunnar Nelson is going to win. I think it most likely is going to be a submission of some sort. I can see a Darce choke, a guillotine, some form of front choke, anything like that. Even, you know, a Peruvian necktie, those sort of things, Japanese neckties, anything with a one arm in. Because if he does manage to go for takedowns, which isn't mainly his game, it's more trips, I can see Sato trying to bounce back up as quickly as possible. And as he gets up, I can see that's when the striking will happen of Gunnar Nelson. That's where he'll snatch a neck. He might even drop him at this point. I've said all this, and he's probably going to just drop him, and Takashi's going to, you know, Takashi will drop Gunnar at this rate. But yeah, it's a real tricky one to call, guys, here, because Takashi has his own merits as well. He's got a very good jab, very good front body kick, moves well, they mirror each other very well in this fight. It's a great matchup, to be honest. It's a really good step in. I think the Claudio Silva fight would have been a lot easier for Gunnar. I think his jiu-jitsu is on par with Claudio Silva. Claudio Silva's at the end of his career now. He's just lost to Court Bucking McGee. So I think Gunnar would have had a big advantage in that fight, and he's got a far significant striking advantage in that one. In this fight, the striking is more or less level in different departments, but I would edge it towards Gunnar, and Gunnar definitely has a better grappling advantage in this one as well. So for that reason, guys, I'm going to side with Gunnar. I do think it will be a submission. I think he's got a lot of fans in the UK. Takashi, you know, very unknown in the UK, especially on the regional scene. You know, a lot of local guys will be there cheering, and I'm not sure a lot of them are aware of Sato, especially on a late replacement. But let me know, guys, who you think is going to win. Do you think Gunnar Nelson can do it like I can, or do you think Sato's going to cause? I think it's going to be an upset. I think he's going to come in as quite a heavy underdog. So let me know, guys, in the comments below. Leave a like on the video if you have enjoyed it, and subscribe to the channel if you are new. Thanks, guys. I'll see you in the next one. Cheers.